Afternoon, evening, and good morning, I suppose, wherever you're watching around the world. Big up, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me today. I thought what I'd do is something a little bit different and go for some predictions for this weekend, seeing as there's some big games, not just the North London derby. I think there's some spotlight on many of the clubs and many of the managers, to be fair, this coming weekend, because it's going to be a tough one for many. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all looking forward to this weekend, and I hope you've had a good week at work or whatever you've been doing. It's going to be a really interesting one and one that I look forward to. Of course, this is one of the fixtures that all Arsenal fans look for, which is, of course, the North London derby. I always sit there and think, what games am I really looking forward to at the Emirates this season? Obviously, as a season ticket holder, I always look to the North London derby, to the Manchester City game as well. Manchester United is always one that I look forward to. Chelsea as well, of course. And some of the other London derbies are good as well, man. Even the Fulhams, West Ham's, Palaces of this world, I still look forward to. So, of course, it's the big one for Tottenham. I say a big one for Arsenal, but I've never really seen. Let's have it right. I've never really seen Spurs as rivals. Geographically, of course, they are. Yeah, North London. But they've never really been fighting with us for any titles, any trophies, any Champions Leagues. Manchester United and Chelsea and Liverpool, to be fair, have all been able to say that they can fight with us for Champions Leagues, knock us out of Champions Leagues, and also go quite far into the FA Cups. I can remember losing League Cups to Chelsea, FA Cups to Manchester United and Liverpool, Champions Leagues to Man United and Liverpool. I can remember losing to Chelsea in the final of the Europa League. And of course, going toe-to-toe with Manchester United, with Wenger and Fergie, going toe-to-toe with Chelsea. And I think now Manchester City are probably, of the last couple of seasons, the ones we're now going to be seeing as our huge rivals to fight for the very, very top and the major honours, so to speak. I don't remember ever doing that with Tottenham. So I have to sit there and be honest with you that as much as I do enjoy this, I don't see it as a, wow, this is our huge rivals. Because even when we were in the league going for a Champions League spot, it weren't really like an achievement, was it? Finishing fourth instead of fifth. Wow. We both failed. So that's the way I see it. But there's something telling me about this weekend, beat them because. And beat them because means they're getting very cocky. And we don't like Tottenham fans getting too cocky. They don't really learn, do they? They start to get really confident around this time of year when, funnily enough, they come to the Emirates. Now, the last few seasons, I can't remember the last time. I think it was the last time they turned us over. And I think that is the only time that they've managed to beat Arsenal at home in the last 30 years. I think 1999, when Tim Sherwood played for them, was the last time at Highbury that they managed to beat us. Every other time has been an Arsenal victory or, of course, a draw. So I do feel like we should be confident as Arsenal fans going into this game. I don't see any reason as to not be. I want to make sure that we start well. I want to be strong defensively, but I want to be electric like we were on Wednesday night going forward. And our front four that I believe is going to start is going to be electric. Jesus was outstanding the other night, and I expect that form to continue. Saka, phenomenal. I expect that form to continue going into this game. Trossard, he's going to start. Martinelli was nowhere to be seen in training today, but they said that he could be late fitness test in the squad. Trossard has to start anyway, even if Martinelli is fit for me. I don't think you can drop him after his last couple of performances. And of course, Martin Odegaard, who signed the contract today for 5 years, which is great news, man. He's been a fantastic signing. I said on my fan cam on AFTV that I think he's the best signing that Arteta has made. £33 million from Real Madrid, absolute steal. What a bargain. Another 5-year contract, which I think will take him to around the age of 29, 30 when that contract runs out now. So he's basically dedicated his best years to Arsenal Football Club as our captain. Felt at home was his words, finally, because he's been kind of dotted around really here, there and everywhere since around the age of 14, 15, Martin Odegaard. So massive confidence boost and massive positive as far as Arsenal are concerned. So let's go into Tottenham, shall we? I'm going to be kind for 20 seconds about Tottenham. I'm going to be kind about their manager because I've been really impressed with him. Not just about on the pitch. Off the pitch, he's come across so well, man. Like in the media, really impressed me. Too nice for Tottenham. Yeah, that's what I'll say. I've got a lot of Tottenham mates and I know it's all love, but when it comes to them, they can get themselves very, very far and carried away. And I need to be real. Um, they're getting very ahead of themselves now. And Postecoglou's come across very well. The Tottenham team are playing very well. Nice football, it's attractive. They've got a good 11. They don't have a good squad, but they've got a good 11. With one game a week, who knows? They could sneak into the top four like anybody can this year because no one looks great. So that's where I'm at with Tottenham. Before I go into some of the battles for this game, big up Arsenal Adventure, who is now a new member of the YouTube channel. You can be a new member if you would like to. Make sure you do us a favor, smash it, like, subscribe, and then join as a member if you wish. But please like and subscribe. We're literally only about 12, 13 away, I think it is, from 12k. So if we can try and hit that on this stream, that would be amazing. Literally just 2 buttons. That is literally it. Guys, thank you so much. And thank you so much for all your support. And of course to Arsenal Adventure, who is now a new member. Let's go into some of the battles, shall we? Because I can see in the chat at the moment, people are asking me what we think about some of the battles. Listen, Tottenham have got good players. Tottenham have never had bad players, right? They've never come into a North London derby and we go, wow, I mean, they can't even put a team together. They've always had good players. Harry Kane's no longer there, which means there'll be no Harry Kane goal this season. That'll be great. But Son through the middle is always a problem. Richarlison is always going to be an issue in this game because he's that sort of player that you know is going to turn up and just be nasty, a nuisance, annoying, mouthy, cocky, arrogant. Yeah, he's that guy. Kulusevski has fallen off of a cliff, but apparently in the last couple of games has picked up his form. Unfortunately, just in time for this fixture. I've always been a fan of the player. I always think there's a baller there. I just don't think that he had really any stability with any of the managers that were there, whether it be Conte, whether it be Stellini, whether it be Mason, or whoever it was. I just don't know where he saw his future, and now he sees it at Spurs. But the two players I'm worried about are Maddison and Bissouma. Now, it's weird to say that, isn't it? Because neither of them go and score 5 or 6 goals each game. But what Bissouma and Maddison do, in my opinion, this Tottenham side is complement each other. Bissouma knows what he's good at. Maddison knows what he's good at. And they allow each other to do the things they're both good at. And Bissouma has that anchor and control in midfield, and Maddison is the creator. And I don't think that Tottenham have had a creator since Christian Eriksen, maybe. And now they've got one in James Maddison. Everybody knows my thoughts on the player. I wanted him at Arsenal. I felt like he'd be a fantastic option for us moving forward. And I do think that he would have been a better player than Kai Havertz. But we haven't got him. We've got Vieira, we've got Smith Rowe, we've got Havertz, we've got players that can cause problems. But just as I'm just as I'm worried or concerned about Maddison or Bissouma, don't think for a second that Spurs won't be worried about Declan Rice, about Martin Odegaard, about Leandro Trossard, Gabriel Jesus, Bukayo Saka, Zinchenko. These are players that Tottenham Hotspur will be looking at right now thinking they're going to be a problem. They're going to be hard. They're not going to want to play us on Sunday. It's not going to be like we're looking forward to this because we're going to hammer them. Now, I've heard a couple of Tottenham fans speak like this, but unfortunately, they're the deluded ones that say it every single year. And 2 results in 30 years, would it be? 24 years. They've beaten us twice in 24 years at home. And they come with this arrogance and cockiness every single time. Let them do it. Let them do it, guys. Arsenal play the way that they want to play, like we did on Wednesday, come out firing all cylinders. We'll win. We'll win. We'll win the game. 100% we'll win the game. So here's the thing. With Tottenham, trust me, I have they want to come out and give it to us big time. But let's have it right. If they do that, Arsenal can exploit them. They can get in behind them quite easily. Their defence isn't outstanding. I think Romero and Van der Ven is an upgrade on what they had, but look at what they had. Dyer, Sanchez, Ben Davies. Come on, man. Like, if you can't upgrade on that in the summer, you're not doing your job. Let's have it right. Big up Gouda Lee in the chat, man. Make sure you go over to Gouda Lee and subscribe, man. This guy's a ledge. Absolutely love doing content with Lee. He's a great lad and big Guna, and I'll definitely be seeing him around. Hopefully at the weekend. So big up Guna Lee. I hope you're well, bruv. Make sure you go over to Guna Lee, subscribe to his channel. He's putting out content, great Arsenal content at that as well. So make sure you do that. Big up, my bro. Listen, I'm going to go for a prediction. I'm going to go Arsenal 3, Spurs 1. I'm not sitting there cocky and confident and arrogant about it like they are. I do think we're quietly confident about beating them because I do think that although they'll cause threats, so will we. I think we'll be in a position personally where we can have a real good go at Tottenham Hotspur. I do think they're going to be exploited by some of their weak links, and I do see this midfield battle being the key. So, lastly, we'll go into the team news before I move on. I personally feel like every position is pretty much settled in this Arsenal's lineup, other than two. Those two positions I'll come to last. We know the front three is probably going to be Trossard, Jesus, and Saka because Martinelli's not quite ready for this one from what we're being told. We know in midfield it's going to be Erdegaard and Declan Rice. And we know the back four is going to be Zinchenko, Ben White, Gabriel, and Saliba. The two question marks are who's going to start in goal and who's going to start in the number 8 for Arsenal. There's two options in each for me. You go Ramsdale and Raya, and you go Havertz or Vieira. Now, you could in midfield start with Jorginho and play Rice and Erdegaard ahead of him, but I just don't see him doing that. There's no evidence to suggest that that's going to happen. That would be okay because it would basically be our first 11, but Jorginho instead of Partey. But will Jorginho be a good match in that midfield against the likes of Basuma, Maddison and Sarr? Maybe a lot of people are saying no. So the other two options are Kai Havertz or Vieira. I thought Kai Havertz was okay the other night. I thought he got involved. I thought he did well with his duels. I thought he won a lot in the air. I thought he won the ball back. I thought he did a lot of pressing. And he was passing quite well. But I don't think it was enough to warrant a start in the North London derby. Fabio Vieira has been contributing in ways from the bench and then started at Everton and played very well. And I think it would be really strange and also cruel to not allow Fabio Vieira to start in this one. So I think that will happen. In goal, I don't think you can start Ramsdale now because he's been dropped for 2 games and you're going to throw him in the North London derby now for his first return when the pressure's on. I think it's David Raya that's starting, guys. So I think it will be Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel and Zinchenko. I think it will be Rice, Erdegaard and Vieira. And then I think it will be Saka, Trossard and Jesus. Now, let's not forget, we're still going to have Eddie. We're still going to have Havertz. We're still going to have potentially Martinelli. Nelson's there still. Jorginho's there. Tomiyasu's there. So we've got players, right, if we need some substitutes. But none of those players, in my opinion anyway, are coming on to win us a game. So a game needs to be done, in my opinion, by the 75th minute. So that's the way I'm seeing it. This can't be a clinging on game where we need to throw on subs to beat them. So this has to be the way forward. I'm with Mark. I think it's going to be David Raya and Vieira. Lil Tim's is saying the same. And across the pond is saying 3-1-2. I'm going to go 3-1. I think it will be. I'm quietly confident. Lil Tim said Nelson's won us a game before. Yes, he has. Absolutely. And you know what? Nelson and Smith Rowe looked sharp the other night when they came on. Fair play to them. C-Law AFC, you're a new member. Absolute legend. Thank you so much, man. Big up. If anybody does want to be a member and support the channel, all you got to do is click a button that say join. Follow the instructions. Make sure, though, you're liking and subscribing. We're not too far from 12k, man. So it'd be amazing to get that in this stream or this evening. So please make sure that we do that. Here we go. Mum's in the chat. Come on, get the subscriptions up to 12k this show. That'd be amazing. If we could try and get it up to 12k this show, that would be superb. All you got to do is hit a button. It's absolutely free. Like, subscribe, and it's done. And it keeps me happy and it supports the channel. If you do want to join the membership, then please make sure you do that. It's just below the button to like and subscribe. There we go. That's my prediction for Arsenal Spurs 3-1. That's what I'm going with. I just feel like we're going to have too much for Tottenham, and I've not had any evidence so far to suggest that Ange Postecoglou can play Conte-style football. And I think that's the only way that he can stop us. We've seen already, haven't we, in the last 4 or 5 games, people that come and set up in a low block, Arsenal aren't convincing against. It takes us time to break them down. We have managed to break them down. There's only really Fulham where we weren't able to take the 3 points. But actually, when you look at it, we've managed to get through the other teams. So that's what I'm going with. Let's move on. There's some big games, man. There's some big games, but I'm going to save them. Let's get through some of the others. Crystal Palace versus Fulham at the weekend. A 3 p.m. kickoff. Palace at home. Very good form at home, Crystal Palace, to be fair to them. And I've been really impressed with both Eze and Edouard so far this season. I think Roy Hodgson has got them playing, knows what they're about. And I fancy Palace to beat Fulham 2-1 here. I just think with Fulham, they're very, very inconsistent, I suppose. They've got some good players, don't get me wrong. But I'm really not sure that they're going to be able to go to Selhurst and take 3 points. So I'm going to go to Palace. I think they've got the form. I think they've got the know-how. And they've just lost to Villa, I think, Palace, in a way that they really didn't feel like they deserved to. So I'm going to say Palace will bounce back and take 3 points there. The next game is Luton versus Wolves. Now, this is huge as far as both teams are concerned, but it's certainly huge for Luton. And I'm going to go 1-0 Luton here. I'm going to do it. I've been impressed with Wolves. I can't lie. I have. I've been really impressed with them. I've been really impressed from what I've seen against Liverpool and against Manchester United. But they can't finish, man. They can't finish. They should have been 2-0 up against Liverpool at the weekend. They definitely should have been 2-0 up against Manchester United. But they just can't finish. And I just think Luton are so desperate for something here that Luton at home against the Wolves side that isn't really known to score many, but is known to concede. I just think Luton might pick up the points here. 1-0 to Luton. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. They've got to pick up points somewhere, like Steve said in the chat. They need to be getting 4 wins this season, right? Otherwise, they're going to get embarrassed and be the new Derby County that everyone whips. I don't want to see that from Luton. Yeah, I really don't. And I don't think they'll get anywhere near to that. I think they'll start picking up results and they'll start picking up wins. They need to stick with Rob Edwards. They need to stick with what they know, stick with what they believe in, enjoy every moment of the ride. And I think Luton might just surprise this season in a couple of games. I've tipped them to go down. I think they're favourites to go down, and I can see why they're favourites to go down. They've not had the best of starts, right? But look at it. Wolves aren't exactly outstanding. So let's see what Luton can do, man. That's why I'm going for that. Manchester City up against Nottingham Forest. I mean, wow. The last time these two played each other in that fixture at the Etihad, it was 6-0 to Nottingham Forest. I can't lie to you. I can see a convincing Manchester City win. I just pray that Nottingham Forest can do something, can turn up. Their away form has never been great. And again, this season, we've seen it. I really want Forest to try and pick something up here, but I'm going to go with a convincing 3-0 win to Manchester City. I don't see Forest causing many problems to the Manchester City back line. I do think that even though they've been in Europe, they've been fine to rotate a little bit. I don't think they'll have a problem, if I'm honest with you. But I hope, of course, that I'm wrong and we can see Manchester City dropping points at the Etihad to Nottingham Forest. I just can't see it. I just can't see it. Listen, Brentford are up next against Everton. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I know Rich is in the chat listening. Big up, Rich, big Everton fan and regular listener. But I worry for you this season, man. I worry for you for what I'm seeing. I saw on Sunday, didn't really have anything for us to worry about. The fan base looked to be turning a little bit against Sean Dyche. Boring football, not really interested in turning up and giving it their all. Some of their players look a little bit lackluster. I'm just worried for them. And I actually like Everton. I've got a bit of a soft spot for them. I just think they've been a club that should have been run much, much better, man. They've had a lot of money pumped in. And look at the squad with the money that's been pumped in. I'm going Brentford to win this one 2-0. I just don't see where Everton score goals. And I think at Brentford, it's going to be a tough place for them to go. And I'm going to go 2-0 to Brentford in this one. I just feel like they know where the net's at. Even without Ivan Toney, they've got players in Vissa, they've got players in Buemu. They've also got players in midfield that are just complete workhorses, man. Brentford are well drilled by Thomas Frank. I thought he come across really well on Monday Night Football the other week. And when he was discussing Brentford with Jamie Carragher, it was really quite refreshing. And I think he's a top manager. So I'm going Brentford to win this one 2-0. Then we come to the evening games. Well, that was the evening game, but this is the proper evening game on a Saturday. Burnley versus Manchester United. Now, I want to ask the chat something. If Manchester United don't beat Burnley, is Ten Hag just going to get sacked? Because you can blame above and beyond him. You can blame the board, the ownership, all you want. Ten Hag has asked for those players. He wanted Onana. He wanted Martinez. He wanted Varane. He wanted to keep hold of Dalot and Wan-Bissaka. He's brought in Malacia and Reguilon. He's brought in Amrabat, who we're not seeing yet, but people seem to think that once he comes in, that'll be it. It'll be a maestro then, and they'll all start winning. I don't see that personally. He wanted Mount. He wanted to keep Bruno and give him the captaincy and strip it from Harry Maguire. He wanted Casemiro. He wanted Anthony. He wanted, what's his name up top? Højlund. He wanted to give Rashford another contract to put him on the left. This is Erik Ten Hag's team. So as much as he's only been there a year and he needs another window and he's not been backed 100%, they still spent a hell of a lot of money. It's where he spent it, which is crazy. Would you have spent 50 million on Onana? I don't think he was good enough. Would you have spent 80 or 90 million on Anthony? Would you have spent 75 million on Højlund? Would you have spent 65 million on Mount? Would you have gone and spent money on the fullbacks that he spent in Malacia and Reguilon and obviously Lisandro Martinez now, who's been poor? I'm sorry, man. Like if you say it isn't Ten Hag now, then I don't know who it is. Because for me, I was giving him a little bit of leeway, even a couple of weeks ago when they weren't quite getting their window right. But listen, I don't know, man. Everything looks wrong there. They look a mess. The scouting system don't look right. He's just going to Ajax for his players. Nah, it ain't looking good for me, man. Having said that, I think they're going to beat Burnley. Burnley are a well-drilled side under Company, but the lack of quality will shine through, I think, in the end. And I think that Manchester United will nick this one 2-1. With Bruno Fernandes and Rashford and even Højlund, who's come on and looked quite well, I think they're always going to have a chance. And I think they're going to win this one 2-1. Now, if they don't, even if they draw, wow. I mean, what happens with Ten Hag then? What happens if you start dropping points at Burnley as well now? This is not good. It's not looking good for them, man. So, listen, that's the Saturday games. We've gone through Arsenal's Sunday game in the North London derby. But, of course, because of Europe, there's quite a few more that are playing on the Sunday as well. The first one's going to be, well, there's 3 at 2 o'clock, funny enough. Brighton versus Bournemouth. Now, I don't know if anyone watched Brighton last night, but defensively they were poor, man. Lewis Dunk being injured, I thought that won't be too much of a problem, will it? Wow. I mean, I'm a fan of Tariq Lamptey, but he had a poor game when he was playing. And I don't know much about Igor, if I'm honest, but they didn't look solid at all, Brighton. They looked very lackluster, looked very easy to break through. And I appreciate they've got some players that are either been sold or that are missing, not quite back from injury yet. But I don't know, I thought it could have affected them, man. And I fancy Bournemouth to take a point here. Normally, I'd go Brighton all the way, but I do fancy Bournemouth to nick something here. So I'm going to go 2-2. I just think Brighton, maybe, just maybe, it might have affected them a little bit. I still fancy Brighton to do well, and I do tip them still for a top 6 finish. But I just think maybe Bournemouth might nick something here. Then it's Chelsea Villa. Chelsea. Wow. How to spend £1 billion and look worse. Probably on par with the biggest banter club so far with Manchester United. Absolute shambles. You know, I was going up to the game at Everton on Sunday. I was with Robbie and I was with Lee, and I said, do you know what? Is there anybody in that Chelsea side that we go, dangerous? Very, very dangerous. Because let's have it right, people. If you're picking a 1 to 11, I'm not having any of their players. The only one you could probably make a mention for would be either Caicedo or Enzo. That'd be it. And you probably put them in maybe somewhere on midfield. But are they going to get ahead of Partey, Rice and Ødegaard? I don't know, man. I don't know. Not on form. Like, I look at Chelsea spending £1 billion under Mourinho and I'm like, I don't want to face them. Drogba, Essien, Lampard, Makelele, Robben, Joe Cole. And then you go a bit further forward, even under Ancelotti, and you're talking about the Hazards, and you're talking about the players that were under Conte, like Costa, even Fabregas. You were always looking at Chelsea, weren't you, and going, don't fancy that. Now, Drogba is now Nicholas Jackson, right? Lampard is now Enzo. Essien is now obviously Caicedo. The 2 wingers are Sterling and Mudryk, or Madueke and Chukwuemeka, or whatever it is. Then at the back, Thiago Silva is still their best player, and he's 39. So I'm sorry, man. Chelsea, they're not gonna beat Villa. Villa have had a disappointing weekend, right? Week. when it comes to losing to Legia Warsaw. I don't know how that happened, but it did. They got to dust themselves down. But it's actually a good fixture to have. Yes, it's at Stamford Bridge, but they don't look like winning against anybody at the moment, Chelsea. They really don't. So I'm going 2-1 Villa. I'm going to go 2-1 Villa. I think Ollie Watkins will get in behind their defence. I don't think Chelsea have anything up top to allow Villa to worry about. They've got Konza, they've got Pau Torres, they've got good fullbacks now. They've got a midfield that seems to just be able to work with Tielemans, with Boubacar Kamara. Obviously, they've got Douglas Luiz. I'm a fan of what Villa are doing. Diaby's going to be a problem. So I'm going 2-1 Villa. I'm sorry, Chelsea fans. I know you're going to sit there and say that I'm being harsh. I'm just speaking real. I think Chelsea will struggle again this season, and I think it'll be a top half finish. 8th, 9th, best they can hope for. It just doesn't look good enough. It just really doesn't. No matter how good Poch is, it just doesn't look good enough. And I want to ask the chat this. Poch is brilliant with young players. That's what I keep hearing. Name me the young players at Tottenham that he was fantastic with. I can name you a couple if you want. Dele Alli's one. Harry Kane was 22. That's another one. Not young, but fairly young, right? Where else are we going here? Where else are we going? Like, how many young players has Pochettino developed and turned into superstars like people are talking about? So is Dele Alli and Kane really enough evidence to say, go and turn those 20 Chelsea players that are all under 23 into title challengers, please? We'll give you 3 years. No, I don't see the evidence that he's going to do that. I don't think there's any quality at all right now. It's all potential quality. It's all hopefully will be's, not definitely will be's. And that's the problem, man. They've spent £1 billion on might be good. They need to spend £1 billion on win now. That's the way I see it. And the Chelsea fan base, they will not be happy to be patient. They won't be able to do a process like Arsenal have done. No chance. This is 5 years. This is the 5th year of Arsenal's process. We haven't won anything yet. So Chelsea, you think they're going to wait 5 years and say, do you know what? Give us 8th twice in a row. Give us 5th. We don't want to win anything. It's just about going 8th, 7th, 6th, 5th, 4th, 3, 2, 1. No, they ain't going to do that, Chelsea fans. Trust me. Trust me. You saw what they did with Potter. They wanted him out after about 7 games. Could be the same for Pochettino, man. Could be. Next game is a big one. Probably one of the biggest ones, actually, of late, just due to the form of both these clubs. Anfield. Liverpool, West Ham. West Ham have impressed me. You know, I don't like to say it too loud because of Lawless. He gets like very, very cocky about it. But West Ham have, man. They've impressed me. Listen, they're a club at the moment that are on a high because of what happened to the end of their season. And I think they had a little bit of a shambles in the summer, but they've managed to settle it out. And with Declan Rice going, that actually allowed them to go and strengthen their squad, not their position. James Ward-Prowse has been electric. He's been fantastic for West Ham. He's a proper David Moyes signing for me. Lucas Paqueta is in that midfield. Obviously up top, Antonio's found his form and shooting boots. They've got Bowen. They've obviously got Mohamed Kudus, who's come in now as well. Alvarez has been a good signing. Mavropanos, who we all know a lot about, has come onto the scene and played really well last night and is apparently knocking on the door of Zuma and Aguerd. So they've got some strength in depth now. But I do think Liverpool win. I do think Liverpool beat them. They're at Anfield. Liverpool, I said it, and maybe I was a bit harsh actually on Never a Foul podcast the other day. I said, I really feel like Liverpool could be due a spanking soon because of their lack of defence. But actually, maybe that was a bit harsh. And I wasn't saying it because I want it to happen, because I don't really have any hate for Liverpool, if I'm honest. Don't mind them. I always said I wanted Liverpool to win it ahead of Man City. I always said I wanted Liverpool to do well if it ain't Man United or Man City. I hate Man United and Man City and Chelsea more than Liverpool and Tottenham and West Ham. Always have. Liverpool haven't really been, this team that come for Arsenal. Some of their fan base do. They're deluded like some of the others. But I've always been all right with Liverpool. But I just feel like defensively they're a problem, man. Like, I just think defensively they're a problem. Now, I think Van Dijk might be back. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yusef's in the chat. I think Van Dijk might be back and Kenyatte. If that's the case, Liverpool will be okay for the coming games. My biggest problem is with Liverpool. They still don't really have a number 6, in my opinion, that can anchor that midfield. And I really don't know defensively whether they have the cover from Van Dijk and Kenyatte. So that's the way I see it. I'm going to go 3-1 to Liverpool. I don't think they're going to have enough West Ham. So for me, That's why I'm going down that route. Let me introduce someone to the show. We've got little Dan in the house. What are you saying, Dan? You good, bro?
All good, Dan. Ready for the weekend. How you doing, my brother?
Really good, man. We're just going through predictions. I've pretty much gone through the majority of them. Obviously, North London Derby is apparently the big one that everyone's talking about. But listen, the only one I ain't done is Sheffield United and Newcastle, and then I'm going to come back to a couple and get your thoughts on them, man. But I think Sheffield United this season are ones that everyone's tipping to go down. But I wanted to ask you what you've made of Newcastle so far, because a lot of people have been saying that Newcastle will struggle with Champions League being back, said that, it's going to be too tough for them having the hardest group or the group of death. They haven't really started so well, but they've also had a tough start. But I've been impressed with a lot in the last couple of games. I think we started to see the old sort of Newcastle under Eddie Howe of last season. So, do you think they can pick up 3 points against Sheffield United and get past them this weekend, bro?
I think now just about scraped 3 points on. They're the 5:30 kick-off tomorrow night. Is that right?
That's right, mate.
Yeah, I think they'll scrape it, but
they're Sunday. They're Sunday. Sorry, 4:30 Sunday. Sorry.
like, it's going to be a tough game for them. I think Sheffield United at home will always make. It'll be a tough fixture for anyone who goes to Bramall Lane. I think Man City only sort of just got the points late on when they beat Sheffield United the other week, didn't they?
Yeah.
You got a goal late, didn't they? Everyone I've been talking to from a fantasy Premier League point of view this week has said you need to get Newcastle defenders into your team this week. But I think Sheffield United will score against Newcastle on Sunday. But I think Newcastle will ride out the game and win probably 2-1.
Yeah, see, that's what I've gone. I've gone 2-1. I don't know why. I just fancy Sheffield United to score, which is crazy because Newcastle's defence last season was exceptional, man. It really was. But I just fancy Sheffield United to score. I do think that they'll win Newcastle, and I've gone for Alexander Isak in my team this week in Fantasy Premier League. I do think he's going to get on the score sheet because it's been too long and he needs to.
I would just surprised if Newcastle beat them, 2-3, 4-0. I'd be really surprised. I think obviously they've ran their absolute socks off against AC Milan the other night. How much that has an effect on them will be interesting to see. They have got some really players on the day that can be dynamite. You mentioned this, Zach. Callum Ross is still a top forward for me. Almira, and then you're looking at sort of likes of Guimaraes. Joe Linton's still one of the most underrated midfielders in the league for me.
Yeah.
But United at home, I think they're going to make it difficult. It's when the belief starts to drain out of Sheffield United. I think you'll see before you start seeing teams really put the sword to Sheffield United.
Yeah, 100, man. I'm with you. I can't lie. I'm with you. Listen, I touched on yourselves earlier, and you're not going to like what I said, Dan, if I'm honest. I said that Luton have got to win soon, and I don't know why, but I fancy it this weekend, man. Talk to me. Why are Wolves not gonna lose to Luton? Tell me why I'm wrong.
Oh no, it's classic Wolves. Luton have got played 4, lost 4. Wolves are in town. We're pleasing people. Obviously Dave Gregory, who's on the show, nice guy. Luton's just not difficult, not a nice place to go for anyone. Is it tight pitch? Literally the crowd on top of you when you're taking throw-ins, they're breathing down your neck. Like I said, Luton are bound to beat someone sooner or later. They've only had one game so far at home, haven't they? Was that West Ham, or the rest has been away?
Yeah.
So the first 3 p.m. kick off for them at the Kenilworth Road tomorrow. I'm taking the optimism from the first half having played against Liverpool, the 90 minutes against Man United. I still think I've been saying it for 3 years now. A team is going to get a pacing by Wolves sooner or later. But as I said, I've been saying that for the last 3 years now. We have got the capability to put teams to the sword, but we just need that one game to really just ignite some sort of spark in the attacking players in our team. I mentioned Joe Linton a few moments ago. Mateus Cunha, for me, seems to be going that route. Big signing, came for a lot of money, number 9, but for me, he's probably best as a centre midfielder / number 10. He's outstanding at ball carrying, can create stuff, but I don't know whether you saw the chance he missed in the first half against Liverpool last week.
Unbelievable, weren't it? Unbelievable.
Darren Benton is saying my wife could have scored that, and I think a lot of wives would have scored that chance that Cunha missed last Saturday.
Listen, I couldn't believe it. I mean, Pedro Neto is he's my favourite player for you. He's absolute baller.
For as long as I've been on this show now, and he is really starting to hit a bit of form now. I think he's got the most assists in the league after the first 5 games, Pedro. So
Yeah.
hopefully he can continue that.
Yeah, I'm a massive fan, bro. I think he's so good. And I thought he was exceptional against Liverpool. And I just couldn't believe that he'd done all the hard work. And Cunha tried to edit, but chested it. I mean, he just changed his mind. He's in two minds, weren't he? But that puts you 2-0 up, mate. Do you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, it's looking like it's Liverpool's to try and get back into it. They did get back into it in the end. But I fancied Wolves. And I just think Wolves should have been 2-0 up against Man United at Old Trafford. They should have been 2-0 up against Liverpool. And they ain't. And I just think with Wolves' lack of goals, Luton could probably capitalise on that. Wolves do concede as well, as we've spoken about. I just think if they're going to get a result at any place, it will be you boys, man. I just feel it in my water. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't begrudge you for having that opinion. I think a lot of teams will probably have Luton in their rackers a lot of people have Luton in their rackers this weekend because it'll build up their bank if it does come in. But for me, I'm still taking the optimism. My main concern at the moment is, like you just mentioned, we're shipping goals a lot at the moment. 4 against Brighton, 3 against Liverpool, 2, 3 against Crystal Palace, 3 against Crystal Palace. Yeah, we're shipping goals for fun at the moment. I feel like we're going to start scoring goals. I feel like Gary O'Neill's still going to be given a bit of time. It's his 6th game in charge now. 5 games really, because he started like 2 days before the Man United the season kicked off. So it's still got to be given a bit of time. But the concern is the fact that we're not picking up points at the moment. The longer that goes on, a lot of the fan base didn't want Gary O'Neill originally. So the longer he doesn't get points, the more that tension and pressure is going to build. And I still think come sort of middle of October, end of October, Wolves will probably be in or around the bottom 3. It's going to be sort of November onwards before we start picking up points, in my opinion.
Yeah, man. Listen, there's a few people in the chat that think you're going to be fine. Youssef has said Wolves will beat Luton. In my opinion, it will be a scrappy 2-1 win for Wolves. Bradley has said Wolves will beat Luton. I don't think Luton will get more than 15 points this season. Wow. Fair play. I mean, they're not playing well at the moment.
Yesterday, Dan, that I think it's only Swindon in like the 92-93 season that have got the same record after the first 4 or 5 games in no points, and they end up with like the most record least points, I think, at the time. Derby and like a couple of others have had really poor points total. So I think Swindon was a 22-team season, so I think they still got the record for the least points for a 22 season.
I think it's Derby. I think Derby beat that. I think it was something awful, like 11 points or something crazy like that.
That was with a 20-team season.
Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Absolutely. Listen, I hope you win because I think Wolves fans need it to give them a little bit of what I feel they deserve, which is personally. I felt a bit sorry for them because I did look at first game of the season and Arne takes your Craig Dawson out, and that was a disgrace, right? Then against Liverpool, I'm like, go 2-0 up, go on, because you deserve to. And then you lose both them games. So I kind of feel sorry. And I actually think Gary O'Neill got a little bit of disrespect from Bournemouth fans after keeping him up. And then has gone to Wolves and everyone's like, oh, we don't want him. And actually, he's got you playing all right, you know. If you could finish, you might have been all right this season, Dan. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think you need to find a finisher in your side somewhere, bro.
Yeah, that's why I'm not too despondent at the moment. There is a lot of the fan base, like I said, the tension is starting to boil over, and I think anything less than 3 points tomorrow, and there will be a lot of concerns. But for me, even a point tomorrow wouldn't be the end of the world. We just got to start getting points on the board. I still think there'll be there's some really poor teams down that bottom sort of 6. Wolves, Sheffield United, Bournemouth, Luton, Everton are going to be there again this season. Like I said, I think there's going to be some poor teams down there come the end of the season, but I still think we've got enough in this squad to stay up. I just don't think it'll be as comfortable as it was last season. For the majority of last season, when I came on the show, then it wasn't comfortable.
Nah. No, it weren't, man. And listen, I did my predictions at the start before a ball was kicked, and I had both Luton and Sheffield United going down. And if I'm honest, the other two clubs I was considering, well, there was 3 really, was a flip of a coin between Everton, Wolves, and Bournemouth. It was those 3. And I think it will
Yeah.
be around that. And I just think, as far as you're concerned, you've got to hope that Everton or Bournemouth are worse than you. You know what I mean? And the other two are as well, because I don't see anybody else being massively dragged into it. I think Forest and Fulham have got enough. Palace likewise. Burnley could be the other ones, Dan. I mean, they're not really looking amazing at the moment, but
I watched this Burnley game the other night, and I think Burnley was unlucky not to win it. Really, they had the goal ruled out for VAR. It was a dubious handball for me. I don't want to see goals disallowed for that. But
shocking.
yeah, you're looking at sort of Burnley. Are they going to score enough to stay up? I think Vincent Kompany's gone playing decent, neat football, but at Premier League level, you need to grind out results, and it didn't work out for them on Monday night, did it?
No, I didn't at all, man. Big up Chloe, by the way. Says, how do I become a member? Can you do it on your phone? Yes, you can, darling. All you need to do is click like and subscribe, and you will see the join button by the underneath like and subscribe. So make sure that you follow that.
We need some more girls in here, and Chloe's just come in. Drop a subscribe quick because it's the weekend. Let's enjoy ourselves.
Absolutely, man. Big up Chloe, man. Big up Chloe. Listen, Dan, let me talk before you do shoot off. I want to talk a little bit about the North London derby, and then I want to talk about Ten Hag. Now, I said my opinion earlier on with the guys in the chat, and they were kind of all on the same page, really. Let's finish on the North London derby. We'll start with Ten Hag at Man United. What the hell is going on at that club, man? They look a mess.
Massively, it's been coming. They're so poorly run from top to bottom. You look back to sort of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think they finished second under Solskjaer and got to a decent place in the. Did they win the Europa League under Solskjaer? That was Mourinho, wasn't it?
Mourinho.
Yeah, I mean, I just think they're so poorly run. They're literally business first football team second, aren't they? And all these years of being put as a business first, it's trying to reap what they sow. Luckily for Man United fans, they're just not as bad as Chelsea at the moment. I said the other week on this show, Dan, that I'm still tipping Chelsea for bottom half because I think they're so poor. They've got no chemistry. And like I said the other week, teams will still raise their game against Chelsea home and away because they're a scalp, aren't they?
They look absolutely shocking, man. I just spoke about them. I said, I'd spend £1 billion to look worse. They look a shambles, man. And like, for me, I'm with you. I said the highest they can even dream about, in my opinion, is like 8th, 9th. They look so bad, man. And,
Yeah.
Manchester United look terrible, but actually Manchester United, I think, have more of a chemistry than Chelsea do. Chelsea look like they've literally just all met each other, shook each other's hand and gone down Hackney Marshes for a kick around. It's just embarrassing, if I'm honest with you. And Man United at least have got some form of chemistry, and they've got some players out, Man United, when the players come back, like Varane, like Amrabat. Obviously, they've got issues as well off the pitch at the moment. When they start to settle, I think Man United might have a bit of a shocker, but I don't think they'll be like bottom half. I think they could be like 6th or 7th, Man United, this season, have a bit of a shocker. But I don't see it being a shambles of a one, man. But what do you make of Ten Hag? Like, what blame is it of him? Because I think he's got to take some blame now.
Yeah, I think he's starting to key towards that now, Dan. That he's he's gone in, he's tried to show, and rightfully so, he's tried to show authority. Obviously, dropping Marcus Rashford against Wolves that season when he turned up late for a team meeting. The situation with Jadon Sancho just seems an absolute mess because we know he's a good player, but for him to be sort of thrown under the bus like Ten Hag did, saying that he wasn't performing in training, then Sancho comes out with a statement, and it just seems an absolute mess from top to bottom. They've still got some good players. I don't think Marcus Rashford is anywhere near hitting form at the moment. Bruno Fernandes is still hit and miss. I don't think Bruno Fernandes is a great captain, and I don't know where you stand on Bruno Fernandes. I think he's one of the most dislikable players in the Premier League currently. Defensively, they look okay. Obviously, Lisandro Martinez has been injured recently. Varane's been out. Fullbacks are still really weak. Luke Shaw's going to be out for quite a while. And then looking at sort of Dalot and Wan-Bissaka, who, for me, aren't fullbacks for a team that's going to be challenging for sort of top 6, top 4, are they?
No, listen, you asked me on Bruno Fernandes, probably along with Richarlison, my most hated Premier League player. I actually cannot stand the bloke. I think he's the biggest whiner. And I saw him against us, Dan, and he was so poor. I actually think he's quite overrated. I don't look at him in the same light as De Bruyne or Erdegaard whatsoever. I don't know why people do, but this guy is just He's just horrible, isn't he? You play against him, like even as a Wolves fan, you can't like him, can you? Do you know what I mean? Like he's horrible, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, you can respect certain players for trying to get in referees' faces and showing a bit of passion when things aren't going your team's way. But like you said, he isn't in the ilk of like De Bruyne, is he? And like Gerrard, Lampard, the great centre midfielders that we've seen over years gone by. And then when you start seeing like when Man United got beat 7-0 by Liverpool last season, he's literally on the floor throwing tantrums. And look at the Man United captains of years gone by, Robson, Keane, and Cantona. That they wouldn't have ever reacted like that, would they?
No.
Man United under that wouldn't have been 7 down to Liverpool, would they? But to like them react the way he did, it just shows how far Man United have fallen. We were joking within my WhatsApp group years ago after Ferguson left that it was going to be at least 10 years before they won another title, and I think it's heading towards another 20 myself.
Yeah, it don't look good at the moment, man. They're really struggling, and I think if they can't beat Burnley, Ten Hag's under pressure, man. I tell you that now. Um,
The other night, obviously they've got the travelling that's come with that. Going to Turf Moor on a Saturday night, Burnley will raise the game because it's sort of, everyone will raise the game against Man United at home. I
yeah,
wouldn't back it better against Burnley beating Man United comfortably on Saturday night. That's the 8 o'clock kickoff, isn't it?
yeah. Imagine if it's like a 2-0 or something. It's just unbelievable, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Um,
I know I'm listening against it.
mate,
I might even
I'd long
see
may
what
it
you get.
continue, man.
Anchor with that, a Luton Town Burnley double.
Listen, man, I'd absolutely love to see him beat Man United. I can't stand them, and they frustrate the hell out of me. Big up Arsenal Adventure is a new member today. He says, "Do you think that you'll play Havertz up front and Jesus right wing?" No, I think Jesus is going up top, and I think it's going to be a flip of a coin between Havertz or Vieira to who plays in the middle alongside Rice and Erdegaard. Now that Party's out, so that's what I think. Dan, let me ask you about this result. I've given my prediction in kind of detail and description about this at the start of the show. Where do you see this North London derby being won at the weekend, man, or do you see it being a draw?
I mean, this is a heavily watched Arsenal channel, isn't it? So if I'm going to say it's a Spurs win, I might as well just forget coming back on again. But if I'm going to be truthful, I think it's going to be a classic derby. I think it's going to be like a 4-2 Arsenal, but there's going to be an Arsenal player that really sort of cements his legacy within the Arsenal history on Sunday. I don't know that years ago when sort of Bergkamp really scored. I think he scored his like first goal in North London derby, cutting side. I think it was like Ian Ross, something like whipping across from the right, he cut back in with off his left and banging it past Ian Walker. It's going to be like a moment like that in the Arsenal history on Sunday, where like a player like Jesus or someone does really something special.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it because I actually think that Tottenham will come at us, and I think they'll definitely won't be one of these teams that has like a low block. I don't think Ange Postecoglou. Well, I haven't seen any evidence that he plays that style of football, so I think he'll come at us. James Maddison worries me, but he worried me at Leicester every year, so it's not news to us. We know what he's about. Bissouma, likewise, at Brighton was really good, and I think he's coming into his own at Tottenham now. But other than that, they've got Son. He can score goals. So can Kulusevski. And to be fair, Richarlison scored goals against Arsenal for Everton at the Emirates. But I just feel like Arsenal will have too much. I thought we were exceptional on Wednesday night and understand PSV are not exactly the best judge of characters to be going up against the Tottenham side that are probably better than them at the moment on form. But PSV were 26 games unbeaten. And I know it's the Dutch league and it's different, but they weren't no Muppets. They come to the Emirates and we destroyed them. We started really well. We were electric. And I think that PSV actually said, let's go and give Arsenal a good game. We're 26 games unbeaten. Let's get at them. And they were 3-0 down after like 30 minutes. And I just think that is what I'm looking at Tottenham doing. And I really hope they do because I'd love to spank them. I've gone 3-1 Arsenal. That's my prediction. You said 4-2 Arsenal. Are you staying with that?
Yeah, I'm sticking with 4-2. Like you said, Tottenham have got some really exciting players going forward. You mentioned Maddison. Maddison can pretty much win a game on his own. I said on our channel the other day, you've got the likes of Man City, Liverpool, and Arsenal. These teams need sort of 45 minutes to win a game, whereas Wolves and similar teams like that, we need to be playing well for at least 85 minutes of the match. It wouldn't surprise me if Arsenal, like you just mentioned, you've gone for 3-1. it wouldn't surprise me if sort of Arsenal are leading 3 after half an hour because I've got that ability to blitz the team. It will be a special day. Obviously, local derbies are always that on the telly as well. Postecoglou, like you just said, he ain't going to come up and put everyone behind the ball and hope for the best on the counter attack. He's going to want Tottenham playing decent football, and like you said, I think that will probably play into your hands, hence 4-2.
Yeah, fair play, man. Listen, I hope you're right. I'd take 4-2, 100%. I remember the Torreira goal that year we beat they're under Emery 4-2. That was an unbelievable game. It's always been sank too. It's always 5-2s, 4-2s. We've had some right classics, particularly at the Emirates, but also I remember there's been some at White Hart Lane over the years, 5-4s. I remember in 2005 was an unbelievable game. So it's always a good one. It's always big and massive derby, but also for the neutrals, I think people enjoy watching it. It's more than the Manchester derby or the Merseyside derby. I think everyone prefers watching the North London derby because they know the atmosphere is special and it's normally a little bit, or has been a little bit more competitive over the last couple of seasons. So I think it'll be a great one, man. What are you predicting for Wolves, mate? I didn't get your prediction.
We had our match preview show on the Wolves Fancast last night, and I went for a high scoring Wolves 4, Luton 3. Because I think both teams will concede. And like I said, there's going to be a time where Wolves actually do hit the back of the net consistently during the 90 minutes. I'm hoping it's tomorrow.
Mate, I hope you're right for your sake, and that'll be an absolute thriller. Listen, big up, Chloe. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I know you're a regular listener. So thank you so much for that. Much appreciated. If you do want to become a member, then go and follow what Chloe's done. Literally hit the join button under the like and subscribe. And make sure you hit that like and that subscribe because we're not far away from 12K as we speak. Dan, been a pleasure, mate. As always, thank you so much for jumping on. I know you're a busy man in your car and you said you'd jump on as you did. So I appreciate you coming on, mate. I'll let you shoot off before I say bye to the viewers. Thank you so much. I'm sure I'll see you on the show again very soon, my friend. But have a great weekend, man, and we'll catch up soon.
Take care, Dan.
Cheers, mate. Take care, buddy. Make sure you go follow Lil Dan, the Wolves Fancast. Great content provider and creator, and obviously very, very much part of this channel as far as Wolves representation is concerned. Thanks once again to Chloe. I know you're a regular listener. If you do want to become a member, please make sure that you do. Please make sure you like. Please make sure you subscribe. We're not too far away from 12K, people. Come on. All you got to do is hit a like button. All you got to do is hit subscribe. It's absolutely free. You don't have to worry about anything else. No money is going to come out of your account if you hit subscribe. We're not trying to trick you. It's all free content. All right. So make sure that you do. If you do want to provide some support to the channel, then you can do that by becoming a member. But all I would ask is that you do smash the like button and subscribe. I'm hoping that Arsenal do it. I'm going 3-1 and I'm sticking by it. I do think there'll be some shocks this weekend. I'm not quite sure where they're going to be. We always believe that that's the prediction you give, but you know you're going to be wrong. There's always going to be like shocks. Are Burnley going to turn Man United over? Are West Ham going to do something at Anfield? Are Villa going to embarrass Chelsea? These are all things that could happen. Are Sheffield United going to do the unthinkable and beat Newcastle? You know, there's always a chance for something to happen. This is the Premier League. And other than Manchester City winning this weekend, sorry, Dave Asprey, I love you, but I don't think Forest are going to do it. And I'd love them to, but I can't see it. Other than Manchester City winning, I'm not so sure where I'll be having my money going, that's for sure. It's going to be a tough weekend for all involved. Make sure you do us a favour on your way out. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Please do that. If you want to become a member like Chloe has, then please make sure that you do that. We'll see you next time. We're going to be here for all match reaction for Arsenal and Spurs, so make sure you're there for that. If you do like a bet at the weekend, then please make sure you do the following. Make sure you go follow the Patreon in the description for bread and honey bets. Yet again, won a load of money for me this week and the weekend, so I'm hoping they're going to do the same this week. All you got to do is go to the Patreon, follow the description, and then you get to see all their bets and get to win the money because they do not let you down. If you're interested, then make sure you follow this. Take care, guys. We'll see you next time. Yes, people, listen up. Do you want an easy way to make money? Check out Bread and Honey Bets now. With an incredible win ratio, do not miss this chance. This is highly recommended by myself after a very successful win ratio. With betting tips from professionals on your favourite sports such as boxing, MMA, Formula One and football. Check it out for yourself for only £10 a month with guaranteed return on investment. Check out Bread and Honey Bets now on the Patreon or follow the link in the description. Check it out, people.